This week on Fish Ed, Jon talks about the region's underutilized largemouth bass fishing and shares a deadly topwater frog pattern hungry bass just can't resist.
There he is. Got him. He got turned on me and started coming straight at me. Look at that. Great way to start right there. Man, this is fun. You know what's so fun about that? That fish right there, the way he attacks a topwater lure is just ferocious. It's probably the neatest thing, in my opinion, about bass fishing, is just the way these fish hit. I mean, that guy right there, he just exploded on that thing. You know what's really neat about this bass fishing too is I think it might be the most underutilized fishery in the north. There are so many good largemouth bass fisheries across the Midwest, and really, you go down south and it's the biggest thing going. I mean, bass fishing's the deal. Up here, we're so tuned in on our walleye fishing all the time that we don't realize there's another one. Look at that. Wow, that is cool. We just don't realize, though, this great opportunity that exists to catch fish like these. This one's a better one. Look at that. These fish, though, they are plentiful in so many bodies of water. From big bodies of water to small bodies of water. There are so many largemouth bass like that one just waiting to be caught, and they're so fun to catch. And we just don't use it enough up here in the north. Another great fish. But what's finally happening now is because the popularity of high school and college bass fishing, it's really starting to get some traction, and I think that's great. Because when it comes down to it, this is exciting fishing. And when you look at what's going to get more and more and more kids into fishing, I think bass is going to be a lot of that direction because it's exciting. I mean, look at that. That's two fish right off that little tip there. And getting them on topwaters and getting them to explode like that, man, it's visual, you know, audible. It is so cool when you get onto fish like this. There he is, got him. Feels like a pretty good fish. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Come on. Coming at me, oh yeah, really good one. Big bass, big bass. Come on, step, oh yeah, giant fish. Come here. Slow this boat down here. Giant fish. Come here, buddy. Oh, this thing is a giant. Look at this bass. Look at that. Wow. That is a giant fish. Holy smokes. Look at that. Smash that frog. Look at the size of that largemouth. Holy smokes. That is a giant. Wow. Let's get that fish back in the water, and I'm going to show you what we're using. What a fish. Man. Oh, wow. What a fish. That's a giant fish right there. Let me show you what I'm using here and explain to you why I'm using it, because there's a reason. Number one, there's a lot of different soft plastic frogs, collapsible frogs on the market. Okay, now today I chose to use a Poppin pad crasher. This is a BOOYAH Poppin pad crasher, but here's why I'm using the Poppin version today. I'm fishing sparse cover. At this time of the year, we're still fishing stuff that's pretty sparse for two reasons. One, when these fish come off the spawn, they'll relate a lot of times to these reeds and this more sparse stuff. But number two, we just haven't had as much natural growth happen yet because we're in that early summer period. Right now, that Poppin front end is doing two things for me. One, it can get through the sparse cover pretty easily. It's not a problem yet, so I can still use it. But number two, because the cover is sparse, these fish are cruising. And when these fish are cruising in there, they're spending more time on the move than they will later when things get thicker. This Poppin version, what it does in this sparse cover is it calls fish from a distance. And that's a big, big thing at this time of the year because these fish are on the move. And if you're not grabbing their attention, that fish I just caught, he could have been 20 yards that way. And if I were just coming through here with a regular frog, because I'm not trying to just plop on top of them, I'm actually fishing fairly fast right now, trying to get the active ones and get their attention. And that Poppin front end, I'm putting a little splash on. Every time I give it a little bump, I'm putting a little splash on, adding a little bit of noise. There he is. Come here, buddy. Settle down, we'll get you out of here. Fun little fish. Let me explain to you the location we're fishing this morning. This is really key. Right now, believe it or not, I've got the boat sitting in 10 feet of water. Right here, right there. I mean, just a flip away is 2-3 feet of water. If you can find a steep break that then goes up and into the shallows and gives you a shelf up there into the shoreline, where these fish can roam. It's like a super shallow flat leading all the way to the shoreline, but there's a steep break that I can keep my boat in. That can be a gold mine, and here's why. These fish are gonna leave the shallows as the day goes on. When that sun gets high, they're gonna slide out and they're gonna go looking for deep water. Well, if you've got proximity to deep water this close to this shallows where they're cruising in the mornings and then again in the evenings, they're gonna hold up right on this break line all day long. You're gonna be able to catch them throughout the day using a jig, doing something different than we're doing now, but you're gonna always have fish that go up there into those shallows every morning and every evening, and you're gonna get a bite like this, and it's gonna last all summer long. I mean, you get past the spawn, and all of a sudden these fish, they'll be willing to hit a topwater nonstop all summer long. As long as that water's warm, they'll go up there in the morning, they'll go up there in the evening. But the whole key is having this deep water nearby, and then the shoreline shallow depth coming out far enough that you have a flat type area for them to cruise. You can find that, man, I'll tell you what, you're gonna find fish. I mean, it's just that simple. I really like how this looks. It's real similar to that last area we were fishing. Point that comes out, weeds all along the shoreline. Gotta believe there's a few fish in here. Sparse weeds out on the point. But I like our scenario here better. We're out of the wind. There he is. Yep. Yep, good fish. Good fish. Look at that. Oh yeah. He's barely hooked. Let's see if we can get him to hang on here. Hang on there, buddy. Good fish. Not a giant, but a good one. Look at that. Awesome bass. Wow. Every now and then, just a little change, and that's all this was. I mean, not much to it. Just a little change, and that quick. Getting over here, picking a spot a little bit different look, and boom. That fast, another great largemouth. What an awesome day of fishing. Let me tell you, if you're not going out and enjoying some of this, you're missing out. The Midwest is loaded with this, and it's so untouched, so underutilized, and I'll tell you what, it's so much fun. Get out and do some of this, chase some largemouth around. Enjoy these mornings when you're the only one on the water like we are today. Heck, 7:33. What a great morning it's been of fishing. If I were going to the office today, I'd still make it by 8 o'clock. That's awesome.